Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Today we've got some new support for the Destiny heroes, and these were actually introduced within the original series Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 2. They actually appeared, I think one of them was used by the D against Aster, so that's when the D had Destiny Hero Plasma. He was the original person to steal that from Aster's dad. And the other card is actually been used by Aster, and I think that was in the final duel he had against Sartorius. D-Force is a continuous spell card with the effects: 1. When this card resolves, you can add 1 Destiny Hero Plasma from your deck or graveyard to your hand. 2. While you control Destiny Hero Plasma, apply these effects. You cannot draw during the draw phase. Your opponent cannot target cards you control with card effects. Each Destiny Hero Plasma you control gains 100 attack for each monster in the graveyards. It cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Also, it can make a second attack during each battle phase. Now, this card actually does differ a little bit to the anime version, and it's the same with a lot of cards. If they've got an anime version and then they've got a version that's created physically for the TCG, there tends to be some separation for it. I think that with the original D-Force, basically what it did was it forced itself to the top of your deck, and it had the effect where you couldn't draw any cards as well. It mirrored that type of effect with this card, but this is a continuous card, whereas that just actually was a normal card and it ended up just going to the top of your deck. The other thing you've got to think of is, with the anime effect, that made your Destiny Hero Plasma immune to everything. This provides it with immunity from destruction, not from all other effects. So in that extent, it is a little bit weaker, but there are some specific benefits to this. For starters, when this is activated, you instantly get to search for a Destiny Hero Plasma. So that can be either from the deck or the graveyard, which means you don't have to run anything specific. And it's not like you're having to search out your plasma with separate cards, which could block your hand or make it difficult to draw into your right pieces. The secondary ability is really quite decent. Yes, you are sacrificing your draw phase, but if you get the right combination of cards out, that's not really a big issue for you. There's an old combination of 3 cards: Spell Canceller, Jinzo, and Destiny Hero Plasma. By having all 3 of those cards on the field at any one time, you shut down your opponent's ability to use any spell cards, any ability to use trap cards, and any ability to use monster effects. You are shutting yourself off of having spells or trap effects, but that's fine, because Plasma actually only affects your opponent's monsters and not your own, so you do still keep your Plasma's ability. The other thing is it does provide you with what I would consider to be most forms of protection, because your opponent's cards cannot target this with card effects, and it cannot be destroyed by destruction effects, which basically means it's immune to most things outside of things like Storming Mirror Force, Quaking Mirror Force, things that can flip those cards face down. Other than that, you do have almost complete immunity. The nice cherry on the cake abilities are the fact that it gains 100 attack for each monster in the graveyard. So that's not just your graveyard, that's your opponent's. So the longer the duel has been on for, the more likely it's going to be able to rack up some attack points. Remember as well, your Plasma gains some attack points equal to half the monster that it absorbs with its effect. So if you can steal one of your opponent's high attack monsters, say if it's got 3000 attack, that means it becomes a 3400 attack monster. Plasma's original attack is 1900. Add the half from the, say, Blue Eyes White Dragon, that's an extra 1500, which makes it a 3400 attack monster. You're easily going to have this card maybe over 4000 attack, and it's able to attack twice during each battle phase. It's not twice on monsters, it's just twice in general, which is much better. It doesn't have that limitation with things like Ultimate Conduct Tyranno, so potentially you could OTK with this effect. The other card we've got is D Dr. D. This is a normal spell card with the effects: 1. Banish 1 Destiny Hero monster from your graveyard, add to your hand or special summon 1 Destiny Hero monster from your graveyard. And 2. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 2 Destiny Hero monsters you control. The attack of one monster becomes the attack of the other monster. So the nice thing about the first effect is it acts a little bit like a generic Monster Reborn for your Destiny heroes. It's able to revive any of them, and it doesn't have any limitations to it. It's nice for example, if you've already used the effects of your Destiny Hero Malicious, and you just happen to have one additional one in your graveyard. You can always just banish that because you've used its effect. You don't need it anymore. You can then special summon your Disc Commander. Disc Commander from the graveyard lets you then draw into 2 cards when it's revived from the graveyard, which means it's a free pot of greed. You know, no one's going to complain about that. Secondary ability is actually also quite decent, because it lets any of your monsters gain the attack points of the monster that you have in your graveyard. So if you've got something like Destiny Hero Dogma, which has 3,400 attack, if you happen to copy that attack into something weak, such as your Destiny Hero Disc Commander, for example, that becomes a 3,400 attack monster. And it actually keeps those attack points. So you've got a monster that you can summon for free. It's got no conditions to it, and it gains that many attack points. So it's not that it ends during the end of the turn or during your opponent's turn. You just keep those attack points, which definitely makes it a lot better than the old anime version of it. What do you guys think of these two cards? Can you consider yourself running a Destiny Hero deck? Which of the Destiny Heroes do you think is the most powerful? Do you shift over to favourably using Plasma? Or do you still prefer some of the other cards such as Dogma? Or maybe even some of the newer ones from Arc 5? Whatever you think, please leave those comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily Yu-Gi-Oh content.